Have you ever had a connection with someone that you just couldn't put a name to? It wasn't exactly friendship, and it definitely wasn't romance, but it was something so profound, it kind of left a permanent mark on you. Let's dive into this beautiful, strange connection that exists way beyond any labels.
This, this right here, this single idea really gets to the very heart of that feeling, doesn't it? It's a reminder that the deepest bonds we have aren't about always being there or about possession. It's about the permanent place someone holds inside of us.
So, our story here begins with a place, an uncle's house that our narrator was just inexplicably drawn to. He didn't always have a reason for going, he just felt this pull, this need to be there.
And isn't that a feeling we're all looking for? A place that feels less like, wood and brick, and more like a sanctuary for your soul? For him, this house was exactly that. It was a space where the weight of the world just seemed to disappear. So, what was it about this house? What was the source of all of this peace? Well, it really centered around his uncle's three daughters. They were the lifeblood of that home and the very heart of this nameless connection. What's so amazing here is how he describes them. It wasn't about what they looked like. It was something so much deeper. It was in the sound of their laughter, the way they spoke, the genuine innocence they had. It was a kind of beauty you felt, not one you just saw. And this is so important. This connection was completely and totally pure. There were no ulterior motives, no hidden desires, just this overwhelming, incredibly comforting feeling of belonging. It was like these people were a missing piece of his own life's puzzle. So, how do you even define something like this? Well, he calls it a love without the desire to possess, and that just brilliantly sums it all up. It wasn't about wanting them for himself, just their presence, their happiness, their existence in the world. That was enough. That was everything. But you know how it is. Life, it rarely stays still. The things we cherish the most are often caught in the inevitable flow of time. And that brings us to the story's big turning point. Just four simple words, right? But they carry so much weight. This is the moment that signals the end of an era, a point of no return, where things would never, ever be quite the same again. And you can see exactly how that change happened. It started with those shared, carefree evenings. And then, one by one, the daughters got married and started their own lives. The house was still full of life, full of noise. But for him, it was a sound he didn't recognize anymore. It wasn't his. He'd become an outsider in his own sanctuary. So, after time has done its thing and completely changed the landscape of his life, what's left? Well, only the powerful, lingering echoes of memory. This is so relatable, isn't it? It's like a physical reaction to a memory. The past has such a strong pull that it literally slows his body down. His heart remembers, even when his mind is just trying to walk on by. And here's the bittersweet truth of it all. Nothing is ever truly gone. That laughter, those conversations, they all still exist, just as vibrant and clear as ever. But they've moved from the physical world into the private, sacred space of his memory. It's always in the quietest moments, right? When all the distractions of the day finally fade away, that's when these memories surface. They don't crash in, they're not loud or dramatic. They just arrive silently. And they bring with them this profound sense of melancholy and loss that you can feel so deeply. So, what's the big takeaway from this whole story? It's about the permanence of certain bonds, no matter the time, the distance, or even the lack of a proper name for it. And he's very clear about why he misses them. This isn't a story of regret or some unrequited love in the usual sense. It was never about possession. No. The reason for that ache is something far more universal, something I think we can all understand on some level. And there it is. That's the core truth. Some connections are just so fundamental, so pure that they become a part of who we are. They don't need a label or a formal role to earn a permanent, forever home in our hearts. They might move away, get married, drift into completely different chapters of their lives. But their essence, that feeling they gave you, that sense of belonging, that never really goes away. And that leaves us with a question to sit with. As you go about your day, maybe think about those people for you, the ones who shaped you, who gave you a sense of peace, who remain yours in your memory, forever living on, namelessly, right there in your heart.